The transformation model of ITIL. This describes a structured approach to all initiatives and activities required to transform the organization's ITIL value system, regardless of the size and complexity of these individual activities. So you already know from the previous recording in section 1, part 2, that the transformation involves changes to the value system. So therefore, this begins with understanding the context and key constraints of the transformation through the initiation patterns, followed by choosing and implementing the best fitting approach to orchestration through the governance patterns. So initiation will identify the trigger, and afterwards, the best fitting approach will come through the governance patterns. Once this overall governance is established, the context around individual initiatives and related activities is interpreted and addressed so that the best fitting approach to execution can be selected. So initiation, then governance, then execution. Then we have learning focused activities encompass the entire organization, observing every individual transformation, initiative, and activity. Constant feedback capture and adjustment are key aspects of the approach. So the assessments are made based on the best available information and knowledge of the situation or the context, but they remain subjective because different stakeholders can have different views on the constraints and objectives, which might both change over time, sometimes rapidly. And therefore, in transformations, the flexibility to respond should be built into the design of the chosen patterns. And failing to prioritize the feedback and the learnings will lead to a complete collapse of the transformation, or it may be even worse. So this ITIL transformation model consists of layers, stages, steps, and the patterns. The 4 layers, as you already know: governance, positioning, execution, and learning from a previous recording. 12 stages, we have touched very lightly on these. We have named them already in a section 1, part 2. So stages are initiate, orchestrate, orient, decide, clarify, prepare, deliver, evaluate, adapt, and synthesize. I know right now these may not give you any meaning at all, and there is no point in memorizing them also, but it's just, just to putting these to your mind, I'm just reading them out. So do not worry much about what these all mean. We will cover these gradually in this course. The 24 steps are connect, envision, baseline, define, map, structure, prioritize, scope, interpret, calibrate, assess, select, appraise, plan, do, study, act, bound, design, run, examine, distill, stabilize, and integrate. Common patterns are initiation, governance, and execution. And when it comes to execution, implement pattern is used for ordered situations, discover pattern is used for complex situations, and contain pattern is used to execute chaotic situations. So as we noted in section 1, part 2 briefly, each layer serves a distinct yet complementary function. So this structure defines key focus areas while maintaining clear relationships between strategic direction, contextual understanding, practical implementation, and continual improvement. And a stage is a sequence of steps taken as part of carrying out the transformation to move from one stage to another. Whereas a step is an integral part of the transformation flow, consisting of context-specific activities required to reach the outcome of that step. We have seen this in the section 1, part 2, these definitions. Whereas patterns are common approaches to address the context analysis and scoping of the transformation, as well as situational assessment and approach selection for an initiative or an activity. Briefly, let's understand these patterns. Initiation, these is the set of triggers for transformation, such as regulation, business structure change, technology-driven, internal improvement, market demand, and so on. Governance, there are many, and all of these are related to standard governance concepts of stakeholder engagement, evaluate, direct, and monitor. And execution is a chosen approach for any initiative activity. Um, and this is where we use implement method in ordered context, discover method in complex context, and contain pattern or method in the chaotic context. Then this is the overall picture of the transformation model. So we can see here clearly the governance layer, then positioning, then execution, and the overall boundary of this picture has the learning layer. Then within governance, we see two stages, initiate and orchestrate. Within positioning, we have orient and decide. In execution, we have more stages, clarify, prepare, deliver, evaluate, adapt. And in the learning layer, we have observe at the top, reflect at the bottom, and synthesize at the right. We also see within governance, there are many steps under each stage. So initiate stage has 4 steps, such as connect, envision, baseline, and define. And similarly, there are steps under the other stages, such as orchestrate stage in the governance layer has map, structure, prioritize, and scope. So take a look at these, reflect these for a while. Positioning in the orient stage, we have interpret and calibrate steps. And decide stage, we have assess and select steps. And both orient and decide are part of the positioning layer. In the execution layer, we have 5 stages. So the clarify stage has the apprise and bound steps. The prepare stage has plan and design steps. Deliver stage has do, run, and stabilize steps. Evaluate stage has study and examine steps. Adapt stage has act and distill steps. And the synthesize stage in the learning layer now has just one step, which is integrate. Whereas the other stages, observe and reflect, in the learning layer do not have any specific steps within them. So therefore, every layer we can see has a few stages which do not appear in any other layers. And every stage has some steps which do not appear in any other stages. So there is no repetition of any stage or step or layer. And we also see the direction among the stages, which means it is not a sequential that it begins with initiate, goes to orchestrate in the forward direction only. Once the initiation is done, and it can come back to initiation. So after orchestrate, it can again come back to initiation for some adjustments. And for example, it is in the execution layer, prepare is going on, it can come back to the clarify stage also. Then we have the layers. So more about these just to get clarity. Each transformation is organized into 4 practical layers that address distinct needs. This prevents common transformation failures by clearly separating different functions while maintaining their essential connections. And it recognizes that successful transformation requires both specialized focus within each layer and effective coordination among them. The result is a pragmatic system that balances necessary structure with adaptability to changing circumstances. So we see here a more zoomed out picture of the previous slide without showing the stages and steps here. So we can see clearly the 4 layers, namely governance, positioning, and execution, whereas learning happens throughout the transformation. So it is shown as encompassing the remaining 3 layers. Whereas you might recollect in the previous diagram on the previous slide, which had the entire transformation model, we could also see the steps within each of the stages, and those stages are again part of those layers as well. Then moving on, continuing with the layers. I'm just going to read this out for you. This should be clear on its own. Governance. So in the governance layer, the direction and boundaries of the transformation are established while allowing flexibility. So this creates alignment between transformation and the organization's strategy, which will ensure that the efforts deliver meaningful value while preventing excessive control. Positioning layer. This is about determining the best fitting approach for each situation of the complexity or the context. And this is done by performing a contextual assessment. Applying standardized methods to diverse contexts is avoided by matching approaches to the actual nature of each challenge because there are different contexts, therefore, different methods are needed to deal with them. We will understand more of this context a bit later on. The execution layer, this is where the changes relevant for the transformation are implemented using methods matched to the context. By context, it could be ordered, complex, chaotic, or confused. And execution plans are transformed into reality through appropriate actions and techniques based on contextual understanding rather than habit. For example, not applying the same method in all cases. Learning here in this layer, insights are captured to improve current work and build future capability. Mechanisms are created to gather information, extract meaning, and apply understanding in ways that enhance transformation effectiveness over time.